Good afternoon. In this project, we're going to make the Christmas ornament that you would purchase at Woodcraft. We're going to start out with a small block of wood. It's square, so we need to make it round. We're going to use a spindle roughing gouge to do so. Get rid of the corners, and then we'll go back and forth until we get a round circle. This takes a couple minutes, but a little patience goes a long ways. Check this to see whether you got rid of all the flats. The easiest way to do it is put the tool on top of the piece while it's spinning, rather than using your fingers to find out there's something there that might stick your finger or cut your finger. So once we get it round, we will put a tenon on both ends of this piece, which will be our next step in this process. Here we are putting our tenons on the ends. Put a tenon on both ends because we need to drill a hole, a 1-inch hole the whole way through, according to their instructions. I'm trying to follow their instructions since they asked me to make these for them. Here we are. We're going to drill the 1-inch hole. Notice that I got my left hand on the drill chuck the whole time, because when you go to back up, if the drill bit binds in there, it would pull it out of the Morris taper, and then you could have a bit of an issue. We'll drill about halfway, or a little better than halfway from each side before we proceed on. Once the hole is complete, then we will start shaping it. From there, first step is to clean up the end to make sure that it is true, maybe even a little bit undercut and cleanly cut, so that the cap fits on there nice and secure like it should. I've marked the center point so that we have a reference. We're going to sort of make this not a total sphere because it's smaller in diameter than it is long. So we'll just give it a nice simple rounded shape to get the desired shape that we want for our ornament. And we'll get it into a rough shape here, leaving enough of our tenon left on that end because we'll flip it around and do the same thing on the opposite end. In this case, I'm taking the tenon down smaller because I've marked about where it needs to be as far as the metal parts for the top, so I can go down to that area or closer to that area right off the bat. You notice I didn't go really didn't go back beyond my center point of this piece. That will make things easier to keep it symmetrical. At this point, we're going to hollow it a little bit because I don't want a heavy ornament. We're not going to get real carried away on the hollowing part. Somewhere down around 1/4 of an inch thick, something like that. Just to reduce the weight. That's really all I'm after here. And we'll do the same thing on both ends. Just a simple check with the fingers. I'm not even going to get the calipers out to measure it. And we'll flip it around and do the same thing on the opposite end. Notice we start on the very corner because we can't take a big bite with a spindle gouge. So we just ease our way back to the center point or thereabouts. And we're basically still, at this point, we're still in sort of the roughing stages. We'll take the tenon down smaller so that we have less material to remove once we get it into the next phase of shaping, which will be the final phase of shaping. Just get things down closer to where we want, where we have a better idea when we go hollowing and things like that as to where we're at, where we need to be. Excuse me. It's just kind of a rinse and repeat of the other end. Hollow it out. This hollowing is all done by feel. Notice there's no measuring or anything like that. It's just A bit of practice and a little bit of feel. And like I said, we're not trying to go super thin. So to me it's worth the couple minutes of time it takes. Now we'll actually put one of the caps on and trace around it so that we know exactly where we're going to be, where we need to finish up for these metal finials. And now we're back between centers, so to speak. There's a wooden dowel that's actually going through the piece, because I don't have a set of jaws small enough to go inside like they would like you to have for their directions tell you to use a number 1 jaw, I think it is. I don't have one that's that small, so I just used a wooden dowel. Made it a little bit longer than what I needed it to be, and then we'll just bring the live center up. It actually has been sliced down the middle in both directions, so as I put pressure on the end, it's going to expand the end out, so this piece will not slide off the end. And it's a very simple way of mounting a piece like this. There's other instances where you might want to do something such as this, so it's just a good simple thing rather than spending a whole bunch more money and buying another set of jaws just to do one project. I mean, if you had multiple ones of these to do, well, then maybe it would be advantageous to actually spend the money and buy another set of jaws, but I was only planning on doing 4 of these, which is all that I did. So I was not spending the money to purchase a set of jaws just to do one simple project and not really have any other use for that type of jaws. So we got things pretty close to being straightened out as far as what we want. And we'll pull it at some point here when we get it finally shaped. Then we'll pull it back off and check it with our end pieces. Both these end pieces on this particular kit are the same size, so I really didn't need to put the kit together or anything like that. So now we'll just get our curve to what we want, and then we'll give it a sand here in a couple minutes, and it will be pretty much done. This kind of project is a simple project of finishing. We'll sand from 180 through 400, and we'll put some shellac on it because I'm just going to use some spray finish on this piece. It will be a lacquer. Once we put a coat of shellac on, which is this is a seal coat shellac. So once it's dry, which it takes in my climate, it takes about a half an hour, 45 minutes to actually dry completely. And we'll give it a sand. There's a look at what the mandrel that I was using. This is how I finish the things. It's a simple piece of dowel rod with a nail sticking up through it. Thanks for watching.